Welcome back. Thanks for joining me again. So I ran across something while I was reading, talking about what happens if they are injured by their supply. I, of course, was Narcissistic Supply. We are nothing but human helium tanks inflating their egos, in case y'all didn't know that. So I ran across this thing about what happens when they experience injury, they being narcissists. And here's what it had to say. If robbed of their narcissistic supply, they can be prone to taking revenge on you. That's putting it mildly. That is exactly what my narcissist did. When I initially talked about leaving, I tried to prepare my kids and let them know what was going on. It was no big surprise to them. I told them many times that I had had it with him, that I was going to leave, that I didn't want to do it anymore, etc., etc. The only one that was of real concern at the time was my youngest, because he was, of course, the only one living at home. And he and I had discussed at length leaving with me, living with me, moving wherever it was I was going to move to. He went as far as going to see a lot of places with me, potential new homes to rent, lease, etc. And so I was certain that that was going to happen, that he would be leaving with me when I did leave. For many reasons, there just was no doubt in my mind. And so when I finally did leave, he didn't leave at the same time. It was very tumultuous. I, talked to my attorney about it. He said I did need to go with the timing and the filing and everything else. He said, if you're going to leave, you just need to do it. And so I did, as I said before, with whatever I could fit in my car. And I explained to my youngest that he was, of course, welcome to come and be here in the home that I was going to be sharing with John. And he knew him. He was still a little uncertain of that particular situation. But I think at the time he was certain that he did want to leave. None of my kids could stand the narcissist. They didn't have any kind of a relationship with him. So a little bit of time passed, maybe a month. And as I said before, I was running the family business. I had to take a trip out of town. John went with me, and my daughter was coming to town at the same time. So we were going to be passing each other, and I left keys with my youngest son to pick her up and have her stay here, so on and so forth. While we were out of town, the narcissist thought it would be a good idea to come here to my new home where I now live with John and steal from me. He used my son to get into the house. He manipulated him. He lied to him. I don't know what he's told him. From that point on, my son wouldn't speak to me. I'm sure it's nothing but manipulation and lies. And he used him to get into the house to come and steal from me. And he stole the things that he knew cut right through me and injure me the most. The first one being my work computer. The entire company, the entire history of the company was in that computer. That was how I paid our entire staff, all of our taxes, etc. He completely crippled the business, and he stole a lockbox containing all of my valuables, none of which, maybe 2 items, a wedding ring and an anniversary band, none of which were given to me by him. Everything that was in that box was given to me by my dad, by my parents, for one thing and another. And when I say valuables, I mean tens of thousands of dollars worth of jewelry. Their actual value, truly, they're irreplaceable. I can't even put a value on the things that were in there. He knew that would hurt me. Just things that I truly cannot put a price on. One of the things was a watch that my dad bought for himself while he was earning all of his ratings and flying and earning his licenses. And when I was flying and when I was training to earn my private pilot's license, he gave it to me. It was his, and it had his name engraved on it, and it was in that box, along with many other irreplaceable pieces of jewelry and things of great sentimental value. I remember having to go through my lawyer, having to go through the judge and through the courts to get my computer back. And I was sobbing in front of the judge, trying to explain to the judge that these things were irreplaceable, trying to explain that the sentimental value attached was far more than the monetary value. There was nothing I could do. I had the police come. They filed a report. They said because we were in the middle of a divorce, they couldn't do anything as far as law was concerned. They were marital assets. I had so many other things in there, things that belonged to my kids, collectibles, silver coins, jewelry, things that belonged to my eldest son. birth certificates, social security cards, all those things that you keep locked up for safekeeping so nobody gets to them. And so in moving here and in needing to get a new driver's license and all the things that one requires when they make a move, I had to go through a great deal of red tape and headaches trying to replace all those items to establish my new address here in another state. And he still has all of those things. This was almost a year ago. They're all still in his possession. And the only thing I was able to get back was the computer, and we had to do that through court. The judge ordered him to return it. And in one of our most recent communications through our attorneys, when I requested some of my personal belongings, I requested clothes and, things of that nature. What I mentioned in the other video, I mentioned all of the things that he stole from me. Through his attorneys, he revealed that he was in contact with my mother and that he would be returning those things to her. And I'm sure that this is something that they collaborated in together. Let's not give Nora her things back. I'll just give them to you and you keep them. And that's just another way of my mom. I don't know what she's doing. I don't know what she thinks she's doing to me. As far as I'm concerned, it's just pouring salt in an open wound because she's already taken so much from me. Narcissists are greedy. They're greedy. And they don't do things, and they can't give you things without strings being attached. So this is her way of further hurting me by getting involved in my divorce and going behind my back and talking to the narcissist and trying to take back the things that her and my father gave me. And again, it's just one of those things I don't understand. I don't know how you do that to somebody. I just don't get it. And, with our wonderful judicial system, I just can't seem to get my things back. I can't seem to get them returned to me. No one seems to want to listen and understand that they're mine, that they were given to me. And so it's just something else that I'll be fighting for. And the actual value means nothing. It's the sentimental value. It's the things that my dad gave me that means so much to me. And the idea that I may not get them back is just another one of those things that I find myself having to block out, those negative thoughts that seep in and cause you to go off on a train of thoughts that's nothing but negative and does nothing but upset you. And it was just unbearable. I found out that he had done that while I was still out of town, and there was nothing I can do about it. And I found out that my son helped him and made it happen, and there was nothing I could do about that. And while my daughter was still in town, she went to our old home where we used to live, where the narcissist still lives and her younger brother still lives, and she wanted to try to retrieve some of her personal things, and the narcissist came home and tried to have her arrested, told the police she was trespassing, sent to arrest her. It's the last time she saw him. I don't understand how anybody can be so hurtful and hateful and nasty. It doesn't make any sense to me. I try not to put emphasis on these things. I try not to think about these things, and I tell myself they're just things. I'm happy now. I'm loved. I'm taken care of. I'm supported and cared for in a way I never thought I would be. I guess it's just principle. It doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it okay. Those things don't belong to him. He shouldn't be allowed to keep them. They're not his, but he has them. He has them, and he's going to keep them, and he's going to try to control me with them because he knows what they mean to me. And like so many other things, I have to let it go. I just have to let it go. So yes, narcissists are prone to revenge. I concur. Thanks for watching.